This is the weekly update from my tax firm. It's July 21. It's Monday morning, and the question is, what am I up to this week? But also, did I do what I said I was going to do last week in the video? So, quick recap of last week. Last week, I had a bunch of new client appointments. They all seemed to go pretty well. Let's see. Mostly new client appointments. I met with another CPA firm. That other CPA firm does exclusively expats and foreign income kind of tax returns. And that was great because I was actually looking for another place to refer those to. The current place that I refer those to is usually pretty busy and doesn't necessarily take all of my clients, or all of my referrals because of how busy they are. So having multiple options to be able to send to clients who have those needs is great. So that meeting went awesome. I did the large group coaching call that I do with other CPA firm owners and put two of those firm owners on the hot seat. And I thought that call was really fun. We ended up going an hour and a half with several of the people who were on the call that were able to stay a little bit longer. And went through two firm owners and kind of their current challenges and really had a lot of fun with that. Weekend was a normal weekend, and coming into this week, the calendar was blocked. This is the first week of our kids' summer break. They are on a year-round calendar. So they typically go 6 weeks, get off 2, and then from mid-July to mid-August is their longest break. They will be off for 4 weeks. So that's their summer break. So they're out this week, and currently I had it blocked, but I've filled in a few things on the calendar, even though I did have that. So today, Monday, I've got a volunteer opportunity at a Christian ministry nonprofit where my wife and I actually used to work. And that is, be part of a small panel where they're just going to ask us questions about our careers and how our faith in Jesus has played a role in those careers, how we integrate our faith with our work, how those two things come together, what it looks like to be in the marketplace as a follower of Jesus, and how that impacts and influences our work, how, what our career paths have been to this point and how we've gotten to where we are. So I'll be sharing that with a couple of other people on the panel, with about 30 college students who are anywhere from their freshman to senior years in college, and looking at, how to go about making those decisions. How do you choose a career path? How do you choose that first job? And, how do you make sure that you're, trusting that God is leading you and things like that. So looking forward to that. That'll be a good portion of today. And then looks like I have a meeting this afternoon. I forgot about, do have a meeting this afternoon with the AI tax prep software. So I met with one a couple months ago now, and their onboarding has been super slow and inefficient. I've got another meeting this afternoon. I think it does about the same thing, but instead of the old OCR technology, they're using AI to, read documents and do some initial data entry into the tax return. The OCR stuff I found lacking significantly, and so I only used it temporarily. Didn't really like it, but the AI stuff seems a little bit more promising in terms of getting initial data entry into your tax software. So I'm going to try that out, test it out. Of course, I'll probably do a video on that and share in the group and everything, and on LinkedIn and everything, how that's going once I'm able to test it out. And then tomorrow is pretty wide open. Wednesday is pretty wide open. I have my small group coaching call that I had to move up to the afternoon just because that time worked better for the people in the group, as well as I've got a meeting for my son's football season that evening, so I moved that up. Thursday's pretty open. So last week I mentioned I had a recording for a video course that I'm doing, how to, basically the foundations of, launching your own tax firm. So I had to push that because I wasn't ready for it last week. So I pushed that to this Thursday. I'll do that Thursday afternoon. Meeting on Friday with a financial advisor, CFP, friend who actually just left his other job to become a financial planner. And so we're just connecting and touching base. Saturday, so last Saturday was my son's 11th birthday, but this Saturday is the birthday party. So we'll do that Saturday. Sunday is pretty wide open. So in terms of the work week, this week is pretty wide open. A couple of things in there, but the focus is really going to be, like I mentioned last week, continuing to get extension returns out the door. So definitely need to get some business returns out the door quickly this week, or not quickly, but get them out this week and, start moving so that September 15th isn't pressure or anything like that. And then also, getting out those individual returns as well. So that's pretty much my week. The other thing, with it being wide open is like I said, focusing on returns on extension, and then probably a video or two just to make sure that I have some ready to release with the YouTube channel, both my Wooten CPA focused on clients and this one focused on tax firm owners. I've got plenty of ideas. I also need to do another video for my current clients on the OB3 OBBBA Act and getting an update to them, an email out to them too about kind of our scheduling for the fall on how I want to meet with each of them, just to go over their situations and if anything changed going into next tax season, but really just want to get that face-to-face time with them, and make sure that I'm there and being an advisor and that we're building a relationship, so that they don't leave me one day for whatever else, because it's like, like if they're just chat messaging with me through TaxDome, and they don't really ever connect on a personal level, then, it's going to be a lot easier to ditch me for some other solution or some other option that comes around than if I've actually, connected with them and been advising with them and talking to them, the things that only humans can do. Now, even our chat messages back and forth, they're more human than trying to chat with an AI bot. So I think that those things are helpful too, but it's just been a while since I've seen some of them and want to connect with them. So the plan there is to meet with all of them this fall. Also share a little bit about how we're changing up our process during tax season, just a little bit. Again, wanting to meet with them and talk face-to-face to help facilitate the efficiency of tax prep, and also just to deliver, higher touch, higher value service to them going into next tax season than what we've kind of been doing lately, with most of it being through the portal and online and things like that. My dog also just hit the camera, so it moved a little bit. Gonna shift that back, and maybe you didn't notice, but there you go. I'll leave that in the video too. All right. That's my week this week. Hope you all are having a great week. Leave in the comments kind of what your priorities are, what you're doing here in the middle of summer. I know a lot of people might be at, I think Taxposium is this week. There was a tax retreat last week. I haven't done an in-person event like that in a long time. I'm doing the IRS forum that they're doing here in Orlando. Super, super easy to get your hours, and usually it's pretty good. I did it several years ago before COVID, and thought it was a pretty good chance to get CP in and get up to date on a lot of things going on at the IRS. So I'll be doing that one. That's here in Orlando later this year. But yeah, other than that, hope you have a great week.